The morning sun shone bright over New Seoul Colony. Taemin Park wiped his hands on his apron and smiled. His small ice cream shop was ready for another day. The sign above the door read, "Grandma's Recipe," in big, friendly letters. Taemin had been a soldier once. He fixed broken machines and built new weapons for the Earth military. But that was long ago. Now he made ice cream on this quiet planet far from Earth. He liked his new life much better. The shop was small but clean. 6 tables sat near the windows. Behind the counter, 20 different flavors of ice cream waited in cold containers. Taemin had made them all himself. His favorite was Galactic Swirl, vanilla ice cream with blue and purple ribbons that looked like space. "Good morning, Mr. Park," called a young voice. Taemin looked up and saw little So Young running toward his shop. She was 7 years old with bright eyes and pigtails that bounced when she walked. Behind her came her mother, Hyejin Kim. "Morning, So Young," Taemin said with a big smile. "Ready for your weekly treat?" "Yes. Can I have Galactic Swirl?" "Pretty. Please?" Hyejin laughed. "She talked about it all week," she told Taemin. Hyejin worked at the colony's communication center. She was always busy, but never too busy for her daughter. "One Galactic Swirl coming up," Taemin said. He scooped the colorful ice cream into a cone. The purple and blue swirls really did look like a tiny galaxy. More children arrived. Dong-soo and his sister Mira wanted chocolate chip. Young Sam-ho picked strawberry. Soon the shop was full of happy voices and laughter. Outside, the colony was waking up. New Seoul was home to 50,000 people. They had farms, schools, shops, and small factories. Most people here had come from Earth to start new lives. The planet was safe and peaceful. No wars, no big problems. Taemin watched the children eat their ice cream. This was why he had left the military. These moments of simple joy meant everything to him. A child's smile was worth more than any weapon he had ever built. "Mr. Park," said Hyejin quietly. "Thank you for this. So Young looks forward to coming here all week." "She brightens my day too," Taemin replied. "Children remind us what matters most." Hyejin nodded and checked her watch. "I should get to work. The morning reports are coming in from other colonies." "Take your time," Taemin said, "so Young can stay and finish her ice cream." At the communication center across town, Woo Jin Lee stared at his screens. He was the colony's defense coordinator. His job was to watch for danger from space. Most days were quiet. Today felt different. The sensors showed something moving toward their planet. Ships, big ones. "Hyejin," he called out. "Can you check the deep space channels? I'm seeing something on the scopes." Hyejin sat at her station and put on her headset. She turned dials and listened carefully. Her face went pale. "Woo Jin," she whispered. "I'm picking up signals. They're not human." The signals were harsh and alien. Hyejin had never heard anything like them. The sounds made her feel cold inside. "How many ships?" she asked. Woo Jin counted the dots on his screen. 12, maybe 15. "They're big. Should we call for help?" "Do it. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we have unknown ships approaching New Seoul Colony." But even as Hyejin sent the emergency message, they both knew the truth. Earth was too far away. Help would take weeks to arrive. If these strange ships meant trouble, the colony was on its own. Back at the ice cream shop, Taemin was cleaning his counter when the lights flickered. He looked up at the ceiling with a frown. The power on New Seoul was usually very steady. "What was that?" asked little So Young. "Probably just a small problem at the power station," Taemin said. But something felt wrong. His old soldier instincts were waking up. The sky outside began to change. Dark shapes appeared among the clouds. They were huge, bigger than any human ship. The shapes had sharp edges and strange curves. They looked hungry. People on the street stopped walking and pointed at the sky. Voices grew worried. Parents called their children to come closer. Taemin's old military training kicked in. He had seen alien ships before, but only in intelligence reports. These looked like Vorthak vessels. The Vorthak were raiders who attacked weak colonies and took prisoners as slaves. So young, he said calmly. Come behind the counter with me. The little girl heard something serious in his voice. She came around the counter without asking questions. The first explosion started at the edge of town. Bright flashes lit up the sky. The ground shook. Car alarms began wailing. People screamed and ran in all directions. What's happening? So Young asked. Her voice was small and scared. Some bad people came to visit, Taemin said, but don't worry, I'll keep you safe. He led her to the back of the shop where he kept supplies. There was a small storage room with thick walls. Stay here, he told her. No matter what happens, stay quiet and hidden. Where are you going? To help other people. I'll be right back. But Taemin never got the chance to help anyone. As he walked back toward the front of his shop, the wall exploded inward. Chunks of concrete and metal flew everywhere. Hot air rushed in, carrying the smell of smoke and burning plastic. Through the hole in his wall stepped a creature from nightmares. It was 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and skin like gray leather. Its face had too many teeth and eyes like black marbles. This was a Vorthak warrior. The alien looked around the ice cream shop and made a sound like laughing. It saw the colorful pictures on the walls, the small tables, the containers of melting ice cream. Primitive human food dispensary, it said, in broken human speech. Its voice sounded like gravel in a metal box. The Vorthak raised one of its 4 arms. In its hand was a weapon that glowed red-hot. Taemin had seen plasma cannons before. This one was powerful enough to melt through a tank. Please, Taemin said. There are children here, innocent children. The alien tilted its ugly head. Innocent? It spoke the word like it tasted bad. No such thing, only strong and weak. The plasma cannon charged up with a high whining sound. Behind the counter, hidden in the storage room, So Young heard everything. She pressed her small hands over her mouth to stay quiet, just like Mr. Park had told her. The Vorthak warrior fired. The blast turned everything to fire and melting metal. Tables, chairs, ice cream containers, the cash register, everything Taemin had built disappeared in seconds. The heat was so intense that the windows across the street cracked. When the smoke cleared, Grandma's recipe was gone. In its place was just burning rubble and twisted metal. But Taemin Park was still alive. The blast had thrown him against the far wall, but his old military armor training had kicked in. He had rolled behind the heavy freezer just in time. The Vorthak warrior looked disappointed that the human had survived. It raised its weapon again. That's when the warrior made its fatal mistake. Instead of finishing Taemin quickly, it decided to have fun. It walked over to the storage room where So Young was hiding. Little human larva, it called in its horrible voice. Come out and play. So Young was too scared to move. The alien fired its weapon into the storage room. The scream that came next was not So Young's. It was Taemin's. When the colony's rescue teams found him 3 hours later, Taemin Park was holding the burned remains of a little girl who had just wanted ice cream. The Vorthak had moved on to destroy other parts of the colony. They thought they had won an easy victory. They had no idea what they had really done. They had just taught humanity that some things are worth becoming monsters to protect, and humans, it turned out, were very good students. On Mars in the underground weapon labs, Mina Sung was working late when her computer beeped. She looked at the screen and saw an emergency message from New Sol Colony. The message had a video file attached. Mina clicked play and watched the security camera footage from Grandma's recipe ice cream shop. She watched the Vorthak warrior destroy the shop. She watched the alien kill So Young. She watched Taemin find the little girl's body. Mina had built weapons for 20 years. She had seen war and death many times, but this video made her hands shake with anger. They killed children, she whispered to herself. They killed children, for fun. Mina saved the video and sent it to her contacts. Within an hour, every human military base in the galaxy had seen it. Within 6 hours, it was on every news channel. Within 12 hours, every human alive knew what the Vorthak had done. On Earth, Admiral Dong Ho Choi sat in his office at Fleet Command. He was 60 years old and had fought in 3 wars. He thought he had seen everything. Then he watched the ice cream shop video. Dong Ho played the video 5 times. Each time he felt something cold growing in his chest. Not fear. Something much more dangerous. His assistant knocked on the door. "Sir, the president wants to see you." "Tell him I'll be right there," Dong Ho said. But first he opened his private files and began making a list. Names of ships, names of captains, names of weapons that officially did not exist. The meeting with the president was short. "What do you need?" the president asked. "Everything," Dong Ho replied. "You have it." Across the galaxy, humans were having the same conversation. Not just military people. Scientists, engineers, factory workers, farmers. Everyone who had seen the video was asking the same question. "What can I do to help?" On the mining station, near Jupiter, Jinwoo Yoon got the call at 3 a.m. Jinwoo had been a Special Forces soldier before he retired to mine asteroids. He lived alone and liked it that way. He thought his fighting days were over. "Jinwoo," said the voice on his communicator. "Did you see the news?" "Yeah, I saw it. We're putting a team together. Special people. People who understand." Jinwoo looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, aliens were laughing about killing human children. "When do we start?" he asked. The caller sent him coordinates. "Tomorrow. Bring your gear." Jinwoo had not touched his old military equipment in 5 years, but he remembered where he kept it. In the morning, he would dig it out and remember how to be a weapon. On New Sol Colony, the rescue was over. The Vorthak had taken what they wanted and left. Most of the colony survived, but many people were hurt. The ice cream shop was just ashes and melted metal. Taemin Park sat in the hospital. The doctors had fixed his burns, but they could not fix what was broken inside him. He stared at the wall and saw So Young's face over and over. Hee-jin Kim came to visit him. She had lost her daughter, but she was not crying. Her eyes looked empty and cold. "They said it was random," she told Taemin. "Just bad luck that the Vorthak came here." "It wasn't random," Taemin said quietly. "They chose to destroy the shop. They chose to kill So Young. They thought it was funny." Hee-jin sat down next to his bed. "What are we going to do?" "I don't know yet, but we're going to do something." That night, Taemin got a visitor he did not expect. It was his brother Young-ho Park. Young-ho worked for human intelligence. He planned military operations. "I saw the video," Young-ho said. "I'm sorry about So Young." "Don't be sorry. Be useful." Young-ho pulled up a chair. "The government wants revenge, but they want it done quietly. No big announcements, no declarations of war." "Good," Taemin said. "I don't want them to see it." "Coming. What do you need?" Taemin thought about it. "I need to remember how to build things that kill aliens, and I need people who remember why we fight." Young-ho nodded. "I can arrange that." On Mars, Mina Sung was not sleeping. She was in her lab, working on something new. The video from the ice cream shop played on one screen while she drew weapon designs on another. Her assistant, Ko Woo, found her there in the morning. "You've been here all night," Ko Woo said. "I had an idea," Mina replied. She showed him the design on her screen. "What do you see?" Ko Woo looked at the strange weapon blueprint. "I don't understand. It looks like it's designed to freeze things, not destroy them." "Exactly." Mina's eyes were bright with inspiration. The Vorthak warrior could have killed So Young quickly. Instead, it chose to make her suffer. It enjoyed her fear. So we're going to teach them about fear. But first, we're going to make sure they remember it forever. The weapon Mina was designing did not just kill. It froze its targets at the exact moment of death. Every expression, every emotion preserved like a statue made of ice. "When we're done with them," Mina said, "the Vorthak will be teaching their children about the day they made humans angry." Across human space, similar conversations were happening. In research labs, weapon factories, training centers, and quiet meeting rooms, humans were planning something the galaxy had never seen before. Dr. Yun-Soo Han, the physicist, was working on new ways to track Vorthak ships. But her tracking system was special. It did not just find enemy ships. It recorded everything about them. Every energy signature, every communication, every piece of data. "We're going to learn everything about them," she told her team. "How they think, how they fight, what scares them. And then we're going to use that knowledge like a weapon." On the military base at Alpha Centauri, Captain Bora Jung was studying Vorthak psychology. She had interviewed prisoners from previous raids. Now she was looking for patterns. "They don't understand attachment," she explained to her students. "To them, the ice cream shop was just a building. So Young was just a small human. They can't imagine why we would care so much about something so unimportant." "How does that help us?" asked a young officer. "Because their blindness is our advantage. They think we're weak because we care about small things. They don't realize that caring makes us stronger, not weaker." Bora pulled up a star map. "The Vorthak expect us to attack their military targets, their bases, their fleets, their important worlds. But what if we attack what they think is unimportant? What if we show them that everything they ignore is actually connected?" The plan was taking shape. Not just one plan, but hundreds of small plans all working together. Each human who had seen the video was contributing something. A new weapon design, a piece of intelligence, a tactical idea. But the most important contribution came from Tae-min Park himself. 2 weeks after the attack, he was released from the hospital. Instead of going home, he went to the ruins of his ice cream shop. The cleanup crews had cleared away most of the debris, but he could still see the scorch marks on the ground. Hye-jin was there, standing where the counter used to be. "I keep thinking she'll come running around the corner," Hye-jin said, asking for Galactic swirl. "She will," Tae-min said quietly. Hye-jin looked at him strangely. "What do you mean?" "I'm going to rebuild the shop, exactly like it was. Same colors, same flavors, same everything. And when the Vorthak come back, they'll find it here waiting for them." "Why would they come back?" Tae-min smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Because we're going to make them come back. We're going to hunt them across the galaxy. And every time we catch them, we're going to show them this place. We're going to make them understand what they destroyed." That night, Tae-min made a call to his old commanding officer. "I want back in," he said. "Are you sure? You left the military for good reasons. I had good reasons then. I have better reasons now. What do you want to do?" Tae-min looked at the plans he had been drawing. Plans for weapons, plans for ships, plans for operations that would make the Vorthak regret they had ever heard of humans. "I want to teach them that humans don't just fight to win," he said. "We fight to teach lessons, and some lessons need to be carved very, very deep." The forge of human fury was heating up. Soon it would be hot enough to reshape the galaxy. 6 months after the attack on New Sol Colony, human space had changed. Every military base was working day and night. Every scientist was focused on one goal: making the Vorthak pay. Dr. Yun-Soo Han stood in her laboratory on Europa, Jupiter's ice moon. She had chosen this cold place for a reason. Ice was going to be her weapon. "Show me the energy readings again," she told her assistant, Nam Woo. Nam Woo pulled up the data on the main screen. "These are from the plasma cannon that destroyed the ice cream shop. We captured the energy signature from the security cameras." Yun-Soo studied the numbers. For months, she had been working on something the military called Frost Protocol. It was her answer to the Vorthak warrior who had laughed while killing So Young. "The Vorthak use heat weapons," she explained to her team. "Plasma cannons, fire, bombs, energy beams. They think heat equals power, but they forgot about cold." She walked to a special chamber in the corner of her lab. Inside was a small piece of Vorthak armor, captured from an old battle. She pressed a button. The chamber filled with a strange blue light. The armor began to freeze, but not normal freezing. This was something new. The metal became so cold that it stopped moving completely. Every molecule locked in place. "Frost Protocol doesn't just freeze the target," Yun-Soo said. "It freezes them at the exact moment we fire. Their last expression, their last thought, their last feeling, all preserved forever." Namwu looked worried. Isn't that cruel? The Vorthak warrior had time to walk away after destroying the shop, Yunsu replied. Instead, it chose to hunt down a 7-year-old girl. It chose cruelty. Now we choose consequences. Across the solar system on Mars, Mina Sung was working on something even more ambitious. She called it the memory weapon. Every human who saw that video felt the same thing, she told her team. Anger, sadness, and a need for justice. What if we could turn those feelings into tactical advantage? Her assistant Kyung-ho looked confused. How do you weaponize emotions? Mina showed him a strange helmet covered in wires and sensors. This connects to a soldier's nervous system. It records the exact emotional state they felt while watching the ice cream shop video. Then it plays those emotions back during combat. What does that do? It makes them fight with perfect focus. No fear, no hesitation, no mercy, just pure, concentrated purpose. The Vorthak took away our peace. Now we use that pain to take away their victory. The first test pilot was Jin Woo-yun. He had volunteered immediately when he heard about the project. Are you ready? Mina asked as Jin Woo put on the helmet. I've been ready since I saw So Young die, he replied. Mina activated the device. Jin Woo's eyes changed. They became cold and focused, like a machine programmed for one task. But behind, the coldness was something burning. How do you feel? Mina asked. Like I remember exactly why we're doing this, Jin Woo said. His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. And I remember exactly what they need to pay for. The tests were successful. Soldiers using the memory weapon fought with coordination that seemed impossible. They moved like they shared one mind, one purpose, one unbreakable focus. Meanwhile, Young Ho Park was developing strategy at Human Intelligence Headquarters. His job was to turn all these new weapons into a plan that would work. The Vorthak think. They understand us, he explained to the War Council. They think we're weak because we care about small things. They think the ice cream shop was unimportant. Admiral Dong Ho Choi leaned forward. How do we use that against them? We make them understand that nothing human is unimportant. Every shop, every child, every moment of joy they destroy, it all connects. We're going to show them that attacking one human means attacking all humans. Young Ho pulled up a map of Vorthak territory. They have 67 military bases, but they also have thousands of supply stations, communication posts, and civilian targets they think we'll ignore. What's the plan? We attack everything, not just their military, their food, their fuel, their communications, their morale. We make them understand that war isn't just about ships and weapons. It's about taking away everything that makes life worth living. Bora Jung, the xenopsychology expert, added her research. The Vorthak don't form emotional attachments like humans do. To them, destroying the ice cream shop was like stepping on an ant. They can't understand why we care so much. But that's their weakness, Young Ho continued. They can't predict how we'll respond because they don't understand what motivates us. They expect us to attack their strongest positions. Instead, we'll attack their assumptions. The first field test happened on a remote moon called Theta 7. A small Vorthak outpost was stationed there, mining rare metals. Intelligence said there were maybe 30 aliens on the whole moon. Jin Woo led a team of 12 humans. They were all wearing Mina's memory weapons and carrying Yunsu's frost protocol guns. The attack took 17 minutes. When it was over, the Vorthak outpost looked like an art gallery made of ice sculptures. Every alien was frozen in their final moment of realization. Some had expressions of confusion. Others showed fear. A few looked like they were trying to run. But the most important part wasn't the death. It was what the humans left behind. In the center of the frozen base, Jin Woo's team built something. It was small and simple, just a table with 2 chairs and a sign. The sign was written in Vorthak language and said, "Grandma's recipe, in memory of So Young Kim, age 7. On the table was a bowl of ice cream, real ice cream, kept frozen by the same technology that had killed the Vorthak. The flavor was Galactic, swirl, vanilla with blue and purple ribbons that looked like space. When other Vorthak found the base 3 days later, they sent urgent reports back to their commanders. The reports were confused and frightened. The humans had not just attacked, they had left a message about a child and ice cream and something the Vorthak could not understand. War Commander Gorth Val read the reports in his flagship. He was the leader of the Vorthak military, a veteran of hundreds of raids. He had never seen anything like this. "They froze our warriors and left food?" he asked his intelligence officer. "Yes, War Commander, and they broadcast a signal with the attack. Something about a human child who died in a food dispensary." Gorthaval could not understand. Why would humans care so much about one small death? Why would they waste time building monuments and leaving ice cream in a war zone? "Send more ships to patrol our outposts," he ordered. "The humans are acting strangely. I want to know what they're planning." But the humans were just getting started. Over the next 2 months, 17 more Vorthak outposts were attacked. Each time the result was the same. Frost protocol weapons left frozen aliens like statues. Memory weapon soldiers fought with perfect coordination. And always the humans left behind the same memorial: a table, 2 chairs, and a bowl of Galactic swirl ice cream. The Vorthak military began to panic. They were losing soldiers, but that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that they couldn't understand why the humans were doing this. Every attack was accompanied by broadcasts about a child named So Young. Every frozen base had a memorial to an ice cream shop. Dr. Yun-Soo Han received reports from each battle. Her Frost protocol weapons were working better than expected, but she wasn't satisfied yet. "We need them to understand," she told Namwoo. "Each frozen warrior should be a teacher. They should tell other Vorthak exactly what happens when you kill human children." She began working on Frost Protocol 2.0. This version would not just freeze the target, it would also record their final thoughts and broadcast them. Every Vorthak who died would become a warning to their species. Mina Sung was upgrading her memory weapons too. The new version connected soldiers not just to their own emotions but to the feelings of everyone who had watched the ice cream shop video. Every human's anger, sadness, and determination became shared strength. "We're turning our pain into power," she explained to Admiral Dong Ho during his visit to Mars. "Every tear shed for So Young becomes tactical precision. Every moment of grief becomes unbreakable focus." Dong Ho watched test soldiers using the upgraded memory weapons. They moved like dancers in perfect rhythm, but their dance was deadly. They fought as if they shared one mind, one heart, one burning purpose. "How long until we can equip the entire fleet?" he asked. 2 months, Mina replied. "Maybe less." "Good. The Vorthak are starting to understand they made a mistake. Soon, we'll teach them exactly how big that mistake was." Back on New Sol Colony, Taemin Park was rebuilding his ice cream shop. He used the exact same design, the same colors, the same menu, but now the shop had something new. A wall covered with photos of every human who had died in Vorthak attacks. So Young's picture was in the center, smiling with purple ice cream on her nose. "Why are you rebuilding?" asked a reporter who came to interview him. "Because they thought they destroyed something unimportant," Taemin replied. "I want them to see it again when they come back." "Do you think they'll come back?" Taemin smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Oh, they'll come back. We're going to make sure of it. And when they do, they'll find out what happens when you teach humans that nothing is safe, nothing is sacred, and nothing is too small to matter." 1 year after the ice cream shop attack, everything changed. Commander Sung Ho Kim stood on the bridge of the human warship Sweet Revenge. The ship's name was painted in bright colors, like ice cream. But there was nothing sweet about what it carried. "Target confirmed," reported his navigation officer. "Vorthak Supply Depot, Sector 7G. 43 enemy ships docked." Sung Ho looked at the enemy base through his view screen. It was huge. A floating city in space where the Vorthak stored food, weapons, and fuel for their raids. Destroying it would hurt their ability to attack human colonies. But Sung Ho wasn't just here to destroy. He was here to teach. "Open a channel to the depot," he ordered. His communications officer looked surprised. "Sir, we're going to talk to them first?" "We're going to educate them first," Sung Ho corrected. The main screen showed a Vorthak commander with scarred gray skin and 4 angry eyes. "Human vessel," the alien snarled. "You are outnumbered 43-1. Surrender now or be destroyed." Sung Ho smiled calmly. "My name is Commander Kim. Before we begin, I want to show you something." He nodded to his communications officer. The view screen changed. Now it showed the security video from Grandma's recipe ice cream shop. The Vorthak commander watched as his warrior destroyed the shop and killed So Young. "This happened exactly 1 year ago," Sung Ho said. "One of your warriors thought it was funny to kill a 7-year-old human girl. Do you remember giving that order?" The Vorthak commander's face showed confusion. "Why do you show me this?" "It was one small human. There are billions more." "That's where you're wrong," Sung Ho replied. "There are no small humans. Every human matters. And when you kill one of us, you declare war on all of us." The alien laughed. "One ship cannot defeat 43. You humans are even more stupid than we thought." "You're right," Sung Ho said. "One ship can't defeat 43. Good thing I didn't bring one ship." At that moment, the sweet revenge dropped. Its camouflage. It wasn't one ship, it was 12 ships flying so close together they looked like one. Each ship was equipped with Frost Protocol weapons and crewed by soldiers using memory weapons. But that wasn't the real surprise. "Computer," Sung Ho commanded. "Show them the fleet." Space around the Vorthak depot suddenly filled with human ships. Not dozens, hundreds. They had been hiding using new stealth technology, waiting for the signal. The Vorthak commander's 4 eyes went wide. "Impossible. Our sensors showed nothing." "Your sensors were looking for military ships," explained Captain In Young Lee from her nearby vessel. "We disguised our fleet as ice cream trucks." It was true. Every human ship in the attack force was painted in bright, cheerful colors. They had fake advertisements for ice cream flavors. Some even played happy music. To Vorthak sensors, they looked like harmless civilian vehicles. "You see," continued Commander Sung Ho, "you taught us that you don't consider civilian targets important. So we made our weapons look civilian too." The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The human ships didn't fight like a normal fleet. They moved like they shared one mind. Soldiers using memory weapons coordinated perfectly across hundreds of ships. Every human pilot felt the same burning focus, the same crystal-clear purpose. They remembered So Young asking for Galactic swirl ice cream. They remembered her mother's tears. They remembered Taemin holding a small burned body. And that shared memory made them unstoppable. Lieutenant Jae-hyun commanded a squadron of fighters that painted rainbow trails behind them as they flew. His pilots weren't just attacking, they were creating art in space. Deadly, beautiful art. "Target their food storage first," he ordered. "If they want to starve colonies, let them starve instead." His fighters swooped through the depot like angry bees. But these bees fired Frost Protocol weapons. Every Vorthak they hit became a frozen statue, preserved at the moment they realized they were going to die. Captain In Young Lee led the assault on the main command center. Her ship was painted like a giant ice cream cone with sprinkles, but it carried the most advanced weapons humanity had ever built. "Remember," she told her crew, "we're not just here to win. We're here to send a message." Her ship's weapons didn't just destroy the command center. They froze it solid, creating a crystalline sculpture that sparkled in the starlight. Inside, Vorthak commanders sat frozen at their posts, their faces showing perfect expressions of shock and terror. The depot's defenders tried to fight back, but they couldn't understand what they were facing. The human ships moved in patterns that made no tactical sense. They seemed to care more about creating beautiful frozen monuments than winning quickly. "Why are they fighting so strangely?" asked a Vorthak pilot over the radio. "I don't know," replied his squadron leader. "They're making art out of our dead." That was exactly the point. As the battle raged, intelligence officer Soo-jin Yu monitored Vorthak communications from her stealth ship. She was recording every frightened radio call, every confused order, every moment when the aliens realized they were losing. "They're starting to understand," she reported to Admiral Dong Ho Choi. "Listen to this transmission." The recording played on the fleet's communication channel. It was a Vorthak warrior screaming into his radio. The humans aren't just attacking. They're turning our people into ice sculptures. What kind of monsters are they? Admiral Dong Ho smiled grimly. The kind of monsters you create when you kill our children. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it was over, the Vorthak supply depot was gone. In its place was a field of frozen metal and crystallized aliens. But the most important part wasn't the destruction. The humans had built something in the center of the battlefield. It was enormous, a space station shaped like an ice cream shop. The walls were painted in bright, happy colors. The sign read, Grandma's Recipe, Universal Location Number 2, in both human and Vorthak languages. Inside the space station was a perfect replica of Taemin's shop. Tables, chairs, ice cream containers, and a memorial wall covered with pictures of every human killed by Vorthak raiders. So Young's picture was still in the center, smiling with ice cream on her nose. But this memorial was different. It was also a working military base. Hidden behind the cheerful decorations were weapons, sensors, and communication equipment. The humans had turned their grief into a fortress. Attention all Vorthak forces. Commander Sung Ho broadcast on all frequencies. Welcome to Grandma's Recipe, Universal Location Number 2. This is now human territory. Any Vorthak ship that approaches will be offered ice cream and death in that order. The news of the battle spread quickly through Vorthak space. War Commander Gorthval received the reports with growing alarm. They destroyed our largest supply depot, his intelligence officer reported. But they didn't steal anything. They didn't take prisoners. They just built an ice cream shop. Gorthval stared at the images from the battle. Hundreds of his warriors frozen like statues. A human space station shaped like a food dispensary. Ships painted like children's toys that fought with precision. No military academy could teach. What do they want, he asked. They keep broadcasting the same message, the intelligence officer replied. Something about remembering a small human named So Young. The child from the colony raid? Yes, War Commander. They seem to believe that one death justifies all of this. Gorthval could not understand. In Vorthak culture, the death of one small individual meant nothing. Leaders were important. Warriors were valuable. But children, workers, citizens, they were replaceable. How many ships did we lose in the attack? He asked. 43 destroyed, War Commander. But that's not the worst part. What's worse than losing 43 ships? The intelligence officer showed him a recording. It was from the human fleet's communications during the battle. Hundreds of human voices singing together as they fought. They were singing a lullaby. A simple song about stars and dreams and ice cream flavors. They sang while they killed us. The intelligence officer said quietly. They turned our death into music. For the first time in his military career, War Commander Gorthval felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of death. He was a warrior, and warriors understood death. This was something else. Fear of an enemy that thought differently, fought differently, and cared about things that made no sense. Double our patrols, he ordered, and send scouts to find more of these ice cream shops. If the humans are building military bases disguised as food dispensaries, we need to know where they are. What Gorthval didn't know was that the humans were already 3 steps ahead. Intelligence officer Su Jin Yu had been tracking Vorthak communications for months. She knew exactly which ships would be sent to scout human positions. She knew which routes they would take. She knew when they would arrive. Admiral, she reported to Dong Ho Choi, the Vorthak are sending scouts to look for more ice cream shops. Perfect, the Admiral replied. How many more shops are we planning to build? Taemin says we need at least 50. 1 for every human colony the Vorthak have ever attacked. And how many do we have now? 7 operational, 12 under construction. Each one is a fully armed military base that looks like a children's restaurant. 2 years after the attack on New Sol Colony, the Vorthak Empire was falling apart. War Commander Gorthval sat in his command ship, staring at reports he could not believe. 57 of his bases had been destroyed. Not just destroyed, turned into frozen art galleries. Every dead Vorthak had become a statue with their final expression of terror preserved forever. And everywhere the humans attacked, they left the same thing: ice cream shops. "War Commander," his intelligence officer reported, "we have located the human homeworld." Gorthval looked up with interest. "Earth?" "Yes, War Commander. Our scouts have found it. The humans have been hiding their main fleet there." "How many ships?" "Over 3,000, War Commander, all painted like food trucks." Gorthval stood up slowly. 3,000 ships was more than the entire Vorthak military. But that wasn't what worried him most. What worried him was that the humans had been hiding such a large fleet while simultaneously attacking Vorthak positions across the galaxy. "How is that possible?" he asked. "We believe they have been building ships disguised as civilian vessels for decades, War Commander. Their entire merchant fleet may actually be warships." The truth was even worse than Gorthval suspected. The humans hadn't just been building warships. They had been turning everything into weapons: cargo ships, passenger liners, research vessels, even actual ice cream trucks. All of them carried hidden weapons and trained crews. Admiral Dong-Ho Choi had planned this for 2 years. While the Vorthak worried about human ice cream shops, humanity had been preparing for the final lesson. "Sir," reported Captain Hanul Song from her fighter squadron, "the Vorthak fleet is approaching Earth, 1,500 ships." "Good," Admiral Dong-Ho replied from his flagship. "Right on schedule." The flagship was called So Young's Dream. It was painted to look like a giant ice cream cone with rainbow sprinkles. But inside, it carried the most advanced weapons humanity had ever built. "Open a channel to all human forces," the Admiral ordered. Across Earth's solar system, 3,000 human ships received the signal. They were hidden behind asteroids, moons, and space stations. Each ship was crewed by soldiers wearing memory weapons. Each crew shared the same burning memory of a little girl asking for Galactic swirl ice cream. "This is Admiral Dong-Ho Choi," he announced. "Today we finish what the Vorthak started. Today we teach them the final lesson about what happens when you make humans choose between peace and justice." On the surface of Earth, Taemin Park stood in his rebuilt ice cream shop. The shop looked exactly like the original, but now it was surrounded by the largest military command center humanity had ever built. "Taemin," said Young-Ho Park, his brother and chief strategist, "the Vorthak fleet will be here in 1 hour. Are you ready?" Taemin looked at the memorial wall covered with pictures of human children killed by Vorthak raiders. So Young's picture still held the place of honor in the center. "I've been ready for 2 years, Taemin replied. "Let's show them what we've learned." The Vorthak fleet approached Earth with confidence. War Commander Gorthval believed he had finally found the source of human resistance. Destroy Earth and the strange ice cream warriors would have no home to defend. "Prepare to attack the planet," he ordered. "Target their cities first. Show them what happens when they oppose the Vorthak Empire." But as his fleet moved closer to Earth, something strange began to happen. The planet's moon opened up like a flower. What the Vorthak had thought was Earth's natural satellite was actually a massive weapons platform. Hidden doors slid open across the moon's surface, revealing cannon barrels bigger than Vorthak warships. "Impossible," Gorthval shouted. "How did they hollow out an entire moon?" The answer came from every direction at once. The asteroids around Earth began moving. The space stations started rotating. Even the planet's rings were rearranging themselves. None of it was natural. All of it was human engineering. "Attention, Vorthak fleet," came a calm voice over the radio. It was Taemin Park, speaking from his ice cream shop. "Welcome to Earth. Before we begin, I want to tell you a story." On the view screen of every Vorthak ship, the security video from Grandma's recipe began playing. Again. 2 years ago, Taemin continued, "One of your warriors destroyed my ice cream shop. He killed a 7-year-old girl named So Young Kim. She just wanted ice cream with purple and blue swirls." The Vorthak fleet was now completely surrounded. Human ships appeared from behind every asteroid, every moon, every piece of space debris. The entire solar system was a trap. "You thought it was funny?" Taemin's voice continued. "One small human, one small shop, one small death. Nothing important. War Commander Gorthaval tried to order his fleet to attack, but something was wrong with his communications. Every channel was playing the same voice, the same story, the same video of So Young's death. But you see, Taemin said, humans don't believe in small deaths. Every life matters. Every child matters. Every moment of joy you destroy matters. The human attack began, but it wasn't like any battle the Vorthak had ever seen. The human ships moved in perfect formation, creating patterns in space. As they fired their Frost Protocol weapons, they left trails of colored light behind them. They were painting. Captain Yejin Moon commanded the flagship Sweet Revenge. Her ship's hull was covered with the names of every human killed by Vorthak, raiders. As she flew through the enemy fleet, her weapons turned Vorthak ships into crystalline sculptures floating in space. Target their command ship, she ordered, but don't destroy it. We need Gorthaval alive for the final lesson. Wing Commander Hanul Song led fighter squadrons that moved like flocks of birds. But these birds had Frost Protocol cannons and pilots who shared the memory of So Young's last moments. Remember, she told her pilots, we're not just fighting, we're teaching. Every shot must be perfect. Every movement must have meaning. The battle was beautiful and terrible. Human ships wove between Vorthak vessels, their rainbow trails creating a masterpiece of light and death. Every enemy ship they froze became part of the artwork. Gorthaval watched his fleet being destroyed with surgical precision. The humans weren't just winning, they were turning his ships into a memorial, a monument to their own pain and his people's cruelty. Surrender, he finally broadcast. We surrender. But the human ships didn't stop attacking. You can't surrender, Taemin's voice replied. This isn't a war anymore, it's a lesson. And lessons don't end until the student understands. Intelligence Officer Su Jin Yu had been monitoring Vorthak communications throughout the battle. She reported to Admiral Dong Ho. Sir, they're starting to understand. Listen to this. The recording played across the human fleet. It was a Vorthak warrior crying into his radio. Why won't they stop? We said we surrender. Another voice answered. Because they don't want surrender. They want us to understand what we did. They want us to feel what that little human felt. Admiral, Dong Ho nodded grimly. Then they're learning. Continue the attack until only Gorthaval's ship remains. The end came exactly as Taemin had planned. Every Vorthak ship except the command vessel was frozen solid, creating a field of crystal monuments around Earth. The sculptures sparkled in the sunlight like giant diamonds. Gorthaval's ship was captured intact. When human soldiers boarded it, they found the war commander sitting alone in his command chair, staring at the memorial video still playing on his screens. Why? He asked when Taemin Park entered the bridge. Why did you do all this for one small human? Taemin carried a small container in his hands. Inside was ice cream, Galactic swirl, kept frozen by the same technology that had killed the Vorthak fleet. Because there are no small humans, Taemin replied. Just like there are no small acts of kindness, and no small acts of cruelty. He placed the ice cream container on the command console. This is what you destroyed, he said. Not just a shop, not just a child. You destroyed the idea that anything human is unimportant, so we had to teach you otherwise. Gorthaval looked at the ice cream, then at the frozen fleet outside his ship, then at the human who had orchestrated it all. What happens now, he asked. Now you go home, Taemin said. You tell every Vorthak in the galaxy what you learned here. You tell them that humans remember everything. We remember every kindness, every cruelty, every child who asks for ice cream. And if we attack humans again? Taemin smiled. It was not a cruel smile, but it was not entirely kind either. Then you'll discover that what we did to your fleet was just practice. 6 months later, the Vorthak Empire signed a peace treaty with humanity. The treaty had only one requirement. Every Vorthak world had to build a memorial to So Young Kim and every other human killed in their raids. The memorials all looked the same. A small ice cream shop with a sign reading Grandma's Recipe and a picture of a 7-year-old girl with ice cream on her nose. Taemin's original shop became the most famous building in human space. People came from across the galaxy to see the place where humanity had learned that some things are worth becoming monsters to protect.